Okay, I'm on the way to my weekly Friday massage, and I go out in the front yard, and there's all this squawking, and I'm like, is it the Canadian geese? What is going on? I don't have my glasses on yet, so I'm looking, and I'm like, ostriches? Can't be. And I look farther, it's across the pasture, and it's these five humongous, what are they called? Stork, herons, egrets? I don't know, big ass, four of them, loud, like talking like dinosaurs. And I'm like, good morning to you. So here we are. I'm on my way to do my body work with my structural massage, having just had an epic pre-record of the intimate conversations with Mike Diamond, whose book A Dose of Positivity is out right now. You should grab that. And so much of our conversation was about the body, was about how to move trauma through the body. His morning practice of getting up at 3 or 4 to work out. It's not just about working out. It's about stretching out the trauma stored in his body and strengthening his connection to self, resolve, and ability to stay in his body in the face of questions, challenges, what life brings him, and be so friggin' connected to his intuition. As he was explaining, I'm like, he's not trying to figure shit out in his head. The dude is super embodied and knows what he knows and trusts it and is willing to disappoint others or sit in discomfort and continue to trust himself. It was amazing. And more amazing than that, or maybe not more, but like why that's even more amazing is he's 17 years sober. He has spent so much of his adult life not in his body, on cocaine, on alcohol, whatever. And so I so respect his practice, his discipline, his bravery, his nobility. And I just love hearing him talk about how delightful it is to raise his son, having integrated the ancestral patterns and wounds from his upbringing, from Mike's upbringing, and to see his son blossom. It's good shit. Listen now. Welcome to Intimate Conversations, Soul Medicine. Intimacy is an inside job. Hello, you delicious people. Welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations. We're here at season 11, Soul Medicine, and we're talking today about shame, moving past painful lies and addiction. And who better than the amazing Mike Diamond to talk from life experience, to talk from his television personality world, the director world, the life coach world, the interventionist, and his amazing new book called, here we go, A Dose of Positivity. Follow him on Instagram if you're not already, the Mike_Diamond. Tools, techniques, and strategies to live life on your fucking terms. Actually, it doesn't say fucking, it just says your terms. But let me tell you a little bit more about this great man and then get away to the races. So you will soon learn from his sexy accent that he is from Perth, which is in Western Australia, of course. And he got off to a bit of a rough start as a youngin'. Battling undiagnosed dyslexia, he started to use drugs and alcohol at age 12. My dad was in a gang in Vancouver starting at age 11. And so I mean, just how young you were. Age 16, Mike was expelled, yet he did finish high school, moved to Sydney, enrolled in the Actors Center, got a job at a local clothing store, which unbeknownst to him at the time would change his life forever because Lady Luck was on his side when a customer at the store handed him a green card lottery ticket. I had to marry somebody. I'm Canadian. That's how I got here. You got it at a clothing store. I love this. And so he won his green card in 97. And he made the move to Miami and he landed a role on CBS sitcom Grapevine. Then he moved to New York City, and he landed a guest star in Sex and the City. And then so he split his time between New York and Miami and LA. And he's even a comedian at the Comedy Store. But then show them your arms. Do you have any arms that are showing right now? Yeah, there's, okay. Check them out. Yeah. Because then he was introduced into the tattoo world and he appeared on Miami Inc. and starred in season 3 on New York Inc. And then he went back to his hometown where he wrote, directed, produced, and starred in Bondi. It's like Bondi. You say it Bondi, right? Bondi Beach. I've been there. Okay, great. So the Bondi Inc. tattoo crew. And so those are some of the highs. And so we always like to balance everything out around here into reality. Mike's had some lows as well. along the way. And he's battled cocaine and alcohol addiction for the majority of his life. And to the outside world, he looked like he was living the dream. But on the inside, he was spiritually bankrupt and miserable. And he realized that if he didn't turn his life around, he was literally going to die. And so April 16th, 2006, we are pre-recording this, April 13th. Oh, so like almost 17 years, right? It's almost your 17th anniversary. Fuck. And congratulations. It's a big deal. A big deal.
Thank you.
Sober. Yeah. And since then, Mike has literally helped hundreds, I would say hundreds of thousands of people now that this book is out as well and all the TV, help people to get through the road to recovery. We're really blessed to have you here today, inspiring us with your journey, your book. And yeah, how the hell are you, busy man?
I'm good. You're such a good spirit. Did you ever do acting? Did you ever study acting or anything?
No. I hopped on Uncle Phil's 18-wheeler semi when I was 19 for Hollywood. But no, I've done more dancing and modeling, and interviewing is my happy place. I love to intimately, vulnerably, transparently connect with people.
Because you'd be a really good actress, you know that, right?
No, but I do have a docuseries sizzle reel in the mix to share what I do with people. I love being on camera. I come alive.
You deliver really well, like naturally, and you have like space between. Like if this was an audition, someone would hire you on the spot because you can create which they try to teach, which I learned in acting school. It's like you can create a gap between reading something and then being present and then delivering it, and that's a skill that people try to train in, but you naturally can do it. It's very and it's real. It's like you're not acting, because acting is not acting. It's being.
Yeah.
People don't understand. You know what I mean? You don't actually act. And that's why, like, I tell people, like, the difference between, say, all right, perfect example. Tom Cruise is a great actor, right? Daniel Day-Lewis is an artist.
Yeah.
Do you see how Daniel Day-Lewis transforms, or Christian Bale, where Tom is acting? He's great. You go to his movies, but you see Tom. Like, oh, it's Tom Cruise. You see Christian Bale, you're like, where are you in there?
Yeah.
Like you have this really good intimacy, like it's real. It's really great.
Thank you.
It's awesome. It's really, really good.
It's too exhausting to try to be a fucking people pleaser.
Oh my God.
Who did I lie to? Who did I tell the story? Like, it's just be real, right? It's
really hard. Well, it's funny you said, let me just turn this off because there was a message that came through. Someone said to me the other day, the industrialization of this world makes it so complex to navigate. And I was trying to help someone the other day just deal, because I'm very real, but I also know when to push, when to pause, and when to pull. And it's taken me years, because for years, right, sometimes you just got to shut the fuck up when someone's just needs space. And what I learned, I'm on A&E now, and work as an interventionist, right? That came out of nowhere.
Nice.
But I'm really good at it. I'm really good at being an interventionist. And it wasn't something that I thought I would do, because I was in the acting, TV, stand-up comedy world. Yeah. And I realized that years ago, my auntie pulled me aside, and I have an older cousin, and, we're talking about shame and trauma. It's generational. And Dr. Amen said it recently in an interview that if you had trauma, if there was a traumatic event 3 generations ago, and no one became a transitional character to break that trauma in the cycle, you're going to inherit the shame and trauma, because it's just going to be downloaded and downloaded and downloaded and downloaded. Yeah. I knew that I had to become a transitional character. So I had to leave the place of origin, Perth, and you know what I'm saying? And then say, okay, I have this authentic self. I'm not going to thrive here because there is these rules and rituals that are based on shame-based, toxic shame, dysfunctional family system, Greek, being born Greek. There's like these cultural rules like, oh, I'm Italian, I'm Greek, I'm Irish, whatever that is, right? Yeah. Then you've got all the religious crap. And then you come out into the world in the first 8 years when your subconscious mind is getting programmed by the environment and by the people, you're getting programmed.
Totally.
And if you don't have an environment that can help you thrive, then you become part of the machine.
Totally.
And you're not going to be a linchpin and be yourself. And then you're going to lose the calling, which is not a conference call, which comes from your intuition and the divine presence, right?
Totally.
To follow your path. So what do? You get caught in that machine. So when I broke away and I was trying to explain to this person, you've got to understand that you've got to sit in the dark by yourself. And I say, if you do the work in the dark, you shine in the bright lights.
Nice. Yeah.
It's personal work.
Yeah.
And when people say, they get caught in the blood thicker than water thing, I'm like, yeah, blood is thicker than water. But if the blood is toxic and poisonous, you need to get some purified water from a different fountain. And that's a different spiritual family.
Totally. Totally. My God, we had so much in common. My dad, drunk, stoned, alcoholic, pharmacist. So he got to go to work and have it every single day. That's lovely, right? So instead of taking over Pratt's Pharmacy, the little drugstore with the big heart, I got on Uncle Phil's semi, as I said, and I went all the way over to Tokyo and actually ended up in Japan, which is as far away as I needed to get. But the programs, as you said, were still in me. Divorce number 1, divorce number 2, child custody battle, like all the things. And I walk my talk to do the deep work. I call it like sitting in the fire, facing your shadows, integrating your demons. And that's some level 4 motherfucking trauma in there that I had no idea was running the show. Until the last relationship. And I'm so grateful for the work I've done and the work you're doing. Talk more about this sitting in the fire or being in the darkness. Like, what are some of your come to Jesus moments of like forgiving yourself? Because shame is, I'm bad. Shame is, I'm bad. How did you shift that?
So the hardest thing to do, and this is so intuitively, we know the right way to do it, right? We know everything intuitively. The complex thing about it is you're going to be tested. The information coming in is going to test you. And then it's going to, do you have the courage to follow who you are? Because what happens is toxic shame, people that are sick act shamelessly. And they're gaslighters and they're narcissists.
Yeah.
Right? So, and they try to control and manipulate us. And they want you to work for them.
Yes.
So they'll make you feel ashamed or act shamelessly if they can't program you and control you, right? So, as a young kid, I was a super athlete. And when I won, I was told I was a show-off. So I felt a massive sense of shame to be successful.
Whoa.
Right. Now, when I lost, I was called a loser. I was called stupid. Right.
Yeah.
So damn if you do, damn if you don't. So there's a ceiling that when you become successful, you have to self-sabotage because there's no ground for you to actually enjoy the win. So what do? Right? At a young age, you have to make a decision. Now, I was never in my parasympathetic nervous system as a kid. It was always fight, flight, and freeze until I discovered feed. Right? I could feed a certain amount of thing into me to remove the pain and anxiety. So at school, I'm undiagnosed dyslexic and ADHD. And instead of them picking it up, the teacher would get me up at school at a young age in 4th grade and make me read to the kids, and they would laugh at me and shame me. So what I would do is get so fucking angry, I would take it out on track. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking show you guys. I'm going to prove everyone wrong. And in my brain, I'm like, I'm going to become so successful, right? And whatever I do, and I'm going to outwork you. And I had to drive off my ego to survive. But once my dad owned a liquor store, he never drank, never did that. It just was very violent. It was a very violent household. It was very violent school. When I was a kid, if you mucked around, they cracked you. You got the cane, you got the whip, whatever that was, right? And you got beaten down. So when I tried alcohol for the first time, at 12. I was like, whoa, guaranteed. Didn't matter how you spoke to me, that mood-altering drug made me feel good. Once I started smoking pot at 12, that made me feel good. Then I got into acid. Like anything that could alter my state that was a guarantee, I took it.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you? Because there was no one told me I'd be successful. No one told me I would do okay. Everyone, you're an idiot, you're a loser. And it was always like, you're never going to make it. Yeah. So I had to then fuel myself to just feel okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like, and I had fucked mentors. I never had good people. I was such a good athlete. I was so fucking talented that not one person actually took the time to see my talent and nurture it. Yeah. And just to show people how fucking out of their minds were, my sister found, I have old medals of when I ran track, and her kids are running track. And I went and I showed my wife, right, just the level of how good an athlete I was. Now, in my 40s, after I nearly died, after I had my appendix burst, right, I nearly died. A year later, I was told I'd never run again. I ran 30 half marathons in 30 days. Now, I was never a long-distance runner. I did it to show her the level of my athleticism as an older guy. Yeah. I have medals, and I showed my wife as a track runner my medals and the times I ran. And I put them against like state championships, like elite in America. And I was in Australia, and she's like, you're running as fast as they were running at that age. I said, that's how fast it was as a young kid. Like, and not one person pulled me aside and said, fuck, if we take this kid and nurture his talent, no, they just were like, fuck you. They hated on me.
Stay there for a second, Mike. How does that feel to know your genius died, your capacity to be that athlete that you could have been? How does that feel today?
I'm not angry.
Yeah.
What it makes me do now is, I'll tell you what the best thing about it is.
Yeah.
So I achieve it in other areas. So as like I have incredible gifts in other areas, like as a speaker, as a writer. And what I do now is the best thing I do, it's so fucking great, is I didn't download the bullshit on my son.
You better be I wasn't like that, yeah.
See, I can then look at him knowing, I'm like, he's got my fucking DNA. But I'm giving him the environment to flourish. So anyone he's up against is fucked. I'll tell you why. I can teach him self-discipline, because guess what? He's going to model my behavior.
Yeah, yeah.
He's going to see success. He's going to see unconditional love. He's going to thrive because I give him the environment. I'm going to lean into his inclination. He's not me, but he has my DNA.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll give you a perfect example, right? I never force him to. I was so good at sports, right? So good. I picked up a jump rope. I would pick up a jump rope, and there's a guy called John Weck, and he does these crazy patterns, and like, it's great. So I wanted to, every time I try to start something different for my, my brain, and I started doing these patterns with their rope. They're really hard, and I nailed a few of them. And my son watches me. I don't jump, but he grabs his own little jump rope. I don't tell him what to do.
Yeah.
The teacher pulled me aside at his school. He's only in TK. And she's like, it's really interesting. Do you jump rope in front of your son? I said, why? She said, there was a jump-a-thon. Okay. He took the rope and jumped on the spot with the rope for 30 minutes straight. And he wouldn't break. And I go, what happened? She goes, we couldn't stop him. Now, I know naturally him seeing me do these things, I was meditating in front of him one day. I was just mucking around with him, doing some on chance. He copies me. So I know, because all he gets, he can't fail, because there's no such thing as failure. There's fail forward. So when I see him make a mistake, there's no yelling, there's no screaming. There's no problem. We'll figure it out. So he knows we figure it out. I never yelled in front of him. I was yelling at someone on the phone. I barely yelled in front of him. I was like, dude, get it together. He was like, Dad, way too loud. Like, Did he just fucking check me? Because it's not in his environment to know screaming. And my wife is like the best mother to him.
Oh,
she just nurtures him and loves him. And so all he knows is he's a fucking winner.
Oh, I love this, Mike. And I wanted to say, how does he see you be with your wife?
He loves it. He knows I'm good. Like, because we have such a great relationship. Because you know what? We don't clash. She doesn't have trauma. Her parents were good. She doesn't have yelling. She doesn't have screaming. She didn't get the abuse I got. Do you know what I mean? So if I go after something look, I mean, think about this, right? This was so great. I'm very blessed. I've got a great sober mentor when I came to America. I do a book signing in LA. I have all these people show up, right? My son sees me hug people and say hi. He tells my wife, I've got to meet Daddy's friends. He literally went around and was hugging people and inviting them. It wasn't my book signing, it was his book signing. So no one invited me to shit when I was a kid. They said I was crazy. In his brain, he goes, well, if he can write books, I'm writing books. I was at SoFi Stadium with Dave Meltzer, right? He wanted to be fucking Bumblebee for the day. He's on SoFi Stadium, which you can't get on, right? In a Bumblebee outfit with me and Dave Meltzer watching me. And he's just hugging everyone. And he's watching people. So in his brain, we were in Vegas at a book signing. We're in the elevator. He's in a Bumblebee. What are you doing? I'm here for my daddy's book party. So all he knows is that's I can if Dad, why can't I do it? I wasn't taught like that. I was told you can't do anything. He's told, you want to write a book? Let's write a book.
Yeah.
You want to do this? Let's do it.
So you have pattern interrupted this trend, this ancestral.
Oh yeah, I broke it.
Totally broke it. He's the fresh new ones. For those of us that are adults who are now figuring out we've gone through all this trauma, we're willing to take ownership that there's some lies we're telling ourselves or addictions or shame, etc. I really believe we can re-parent ourselves. Now, it's a hell of a thing to raise them as youngings for sure. But in terms of re-parenting our literal Anna system, what have you found has really worked for the people that you're so there for, supporting?
So here's the thing. I look at this. I don't think trauma ever goes. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to give you a perfect example. September 11th. Where were you?
I know. I can see myself on the couch right now. Yeah.
Right. Now, it wasn't even a question, right? Now, that event was so massive, right? The emotion that connected to that event has wired in your brain the memory, right? Okay. I'm going to ask you another question. What's the worst movie you've ever seen?
I'm not a big movie buff. That's a bad one for me.
Worst song you've ever heard?
The worst song I'd ever heard? I think I delete them from my memory or something.
Stop. No. See, follow me here. Follow me.
Okay.
So what's the worst song? What's a song that you hate?
I don't have any, there's nothing in there. I think I disassociate.
No, but is there a movie that you dislike?
No, that's what I mean. There's nothing in there. Like I'm trying to find a movie or a song and there's nothing in there. I know that I'm not a very good example.
A person.
Oh, that's easy. Some ex-husbands. That's fast. Okay.
Give me an ex-husband. Who?
Well, I'm not going to say his name, but my son's father.
Son's father. Perfect. What is something he has done to you that you really find toxic and horrible?
Should we really say all the stuff right here?
Just one thing that triggers you.
He told the school that our child didn't have a mother.
Perfect. Great. Let's just say that's a movie. It's an event. Now, I don't want to say his name. Say his name's Terry. If I say Terry's name, it's going to trigger something, right? In real time, it's me and you sitting on a podcast. When I said September 11th, it's a memory. Trauma, all traumatic events are a memory from the past because we're in the present. They don't go. We just get better dealing with them.
I don't know. I think we might be saying the same thing, but I'm not sure we can't erase the memory. I'm 100% in agreement. But to me, trauma isn't just a memory. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Like
Oh,
what's
no, but it sits in the body. It sits in everything. But my
that's what I mean.
point is,
That's what I mean.
yes, but what I'm trying to say is that if I have so many memories about my childhood.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
mention my childhood, it's going to trigger the memory. I have
correct.
just got better at dealing with the memory and how I reframe it.
See, let's spar because this is really exciting for me. To me, the emotion of the trauma
Correct.
can be
Correct.
integrated so that
Can be what? Can be what?
integrated. I can take a level
Correct.
4 trauma and I can take where I disassociate. I can come back into the body, go to level 3. I want to kill myself, suicidal. What's the point? Not so fun. But if I keep with the feeling of it and I go to level 2, it's a very short period of time, but it's super intense. It's not angry, it's rage. It's not, fear, it's panic. Very short, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. If I keep being with it, then it'll go down to just the fear, just the anger, and then it'll go to still point. And my ANS system, I took that baby home. So I still have
Right.
the memory of it, but my body doesn't react so I can respawn. That's my experience.
Well, what I'm trying, no, you nailed it. So my point is, it doesn't, what I tell people is don't run from the traumatic event, sit in it, get better at managing your state. Right? Now that takes breath work. So I look at it like this. When we're going through trauma, it's
Yeah.
a storm. It's a storm of emotions. Right. So think of the word storm. The first thing is stop. Stop whatever you're doing. The second thing, take a breath. By breathing diaphragmatically, you get out of fight, flight, freeze, and feed. Now we know the amygdala stores all the memories. By breathing diaphragmatically, we come into our prefrontal cortex where we can start to think rationally. Observe. What is the traumatic event? What is the trigger? Right? Sit in it, observe it, like you said. Redirect it, reframe it, come back into reality. Am I safe? Yes. Is it just a memory of the past, but am I okay right now? There's a difference between me having the event going on here and someone kicking in my door and beating the shit out of me. That's different.
Yes,
That's not trauma. That's abuse, right? Now, STO, observe, reframe it, real-time check in with am I okay? Now, move on and move forward. So when you take storm and you chunk it down, you take the emotion, you breathe, you reframe it, then you move on. What happens over time? We get better at sitting in the event, reframing it, and moving on. So don't try to get rid of it. You can't say, I'm just going to no. Just get better at removing it slowly, sitting with it, moving forward, knowing you are safe. Because what is trauma? Any kind of traumatic event, we don't feel safe. We feel violated, right? We feel attacked. So if we're in the real time, it could be the tone. Look, when people don't understand is when you look at a traumatic event, it could be the tone of someone's fucking voice. And you get, oh my God, that's my high school teacher, or that's my ex-husband, or that's my dad, whatever it is. The body signals us, watch the fuck out, right? And that's why the trauma, if it's not recognized, is generational.
Yeah.
It's passed on and passed on and passed. That's why alcoholics marry alcoholics.
Yeah. I remember, I want to say something about that. And I just remember a joke that my dad once said to me. He's like, do you care how it tastes? I go, yeah, I do care how it tastes. He goes, you're not an alcoholic then. So he would just drink rubbing alcoholic, whatever. Okay, back to this. And this is especially because you're an athlete as well.
I did care how it tastes. That's so true. When someone used to say, did you drink these drinks? I was like, no, I just drank straight liquor. We fucking mix it. Like that was watering down. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That's so true. So when you're saying athlete, yeah, go. What were you saying? Sorry.
I love this storm, and I'm in pretty much agreement to all of this, but there's one piece in here I want to go deeper on, and your athletic ability I think is going to support. I used to be a dancer since I was 5, professional dancer, Japan, all the things. So what I've learned recently in the last year with my trauma is I've tried in the past to do, like maybe 20 years ago, I tried to do ayahuasca several times, and I would leave out to what they call tier 3. And I had these beautiful experiences, and I know who and what I am. I feel one with all, but still the triggers would happen and my body would still so it didn't get in there. I left, but I didn't get in there. So the most recent work that I've done, it's called psychedelic somatic integration. And you wear a blindfold, and on psychedelic medicine, you allow your body to lead. I don't want my body to lead. I want to think my way out of it. I want to have a better attitude. I don't want to feel like this anymore. But the way we go through it is you just let body lead. And my body would go through the recapitulation, the replaying of the abuse, and I would let it. So I was like witnessing it and being it at the same time. And I would totally surrender to body, totally surrender to body. And I was breathing, but not with a specific way of breathing, just go through the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, my body, not me, which is not so good for my ego, because I like to be able to say, I did it. No, I accomplished it. Nope. I just let go, and the body went all the way on its own into stillness. And then at the end, just like a gem of wisdom, everything you just said about a new attitude and a different point of view and moving on, it was all there. But I didn't have to try or work on it or think about it. It just was self-evident, because for that period of time, I let the body lead all the way to this inner well-being of stillness that I have never known in 53 years on this planet. I've known it when I left in meditation or left in ayahuasca or whatever, but I'd never known it like in the moment. And so I'm curious, as an athlete, when you're not thinking and you just win, or you're in the flow, right? It's almost like surrendering to that through trauma, and the body somehow takes you back. What are your thoughts on that?
What, when you say, what are you using? Ketamine, mushrooms? What are you microdosing when you're doing it?
This particular protocol, you would use ketamine, MDMA, or cannabis.
Yeah, so I know my stuff. It's some kind of medicine to get you in. So I think that is great, because I have a friend of mine that does it at UCLA. They have a big grant. So here's two ways to look at it. Because the ketamine or whatever it is slowing you down, right? It's allowing you to then let the body lead.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant. What's changed my life, and it used to be a lot of running, is deep stretching.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go into very, 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 very deep stretching, and I mean deep, like deep yoga stretching, I pull all the stuff out of my lower chakras and my groins and my lower back. Yeah. And I pull that stuff through stretching and breath work. And I don't move out of the stretch until I know it's clear.
Yeah.
I've pulled the trauma out of my gut and my lower back and actually healed my colitis by the stretch work, the deep stretch work.
Yeah.
I think plant medicine works. A lot of people in the sobriety world go, it's not AA. They don't realize Dr. Bill Wilson messed around with psychedelics for 6 years, right? Whatever works for you. I think if you need to go the plant way to slow the body down, slow the mind down, let the body lead, is great. I also believe that there needs to be the second part, which is the therapeutic conversations.
Totally.
Right? The rituals and routines. Yes. So I need to, because I'm a manifesting generator, because I've got ADHD, because I'm dyslexic, I need to do the deep breath work to slow myself down first.
Yep.
And then it opens up. I have to align the chakras. I have to do that. Like, really, you know what I mean? It's like when people say the hot cold therapy, I said, look, you don't have to sit in a bathtub for 3 hours like Wim Hof, but doing a hot cold therapy works. Yeah. But I believe men should do hours of stretching. Because we don't work out. People force the workout. Training I train so when I'm 80, I can be able to run with my son.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's functional training. Yeah. It's to keep my body out of my sympathetic nervous system, but use my sympathetic nervous system when it's needed, right? To stay in flow. And then for me, I have to do the repetitions so it becomes an unconscious competence. And then I'm in flow, right? Yeah, it has to. So I have to, for me, because I know, like, just the way I am, I have to get up early. I have to do the rituals and routines, and then I'm in a flow state all day.
Yeah.
If I, you know what I mean? Because then the body is in flow all day for me. Then
Yes.
I'm like, good. And it doesn't, I'm not leading with this.
Totally. Okay. This is, yeah, same, but just a different kind of a little bit of a different way of getting there. I love that you're honoring the body. This is so, I don't know if you've ever read this book called The New Human, the New 5D Human, but as we go
No,
into
I should read it. No.
5 dimensions, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
From 3 dimensions, right, wrong,
Yeah.
Everybody's asleep, or more masculine pushing energy, right? Not male, but masculine energy pushing. 5D flow, inviting, and a win-win-win for everybody. It's not about who wins and loses, is what's the highest good for all. And so what they say is the driver of 5D isn't spiritual, isn't emotional, because we've integrated our emotions. It's the body. I'm like, yes, because I have not been in my body. I've not been trusting my body. My body's what was violated. So I'm not going to go anywhere near there. And the stretching that you speak of, I think is so great, because for me, not only have I done this PSI work, I've also done structural massage, cranial sacral, acupuncture. I've just been taking such good care of the body. And when I stretch, what I'll find in my massage, there'll be something stuck in my neck and I'll know better. I'll go, oh, hang on. What's held in there? And then I'll literally feel what's held in there. And the masseuse will help me, or me and my stretching, the dancer and me just stretch it open, and literally just sitting up properly with my heart open and good posture. Terrifying.
I got so sick. All right. So when I wrote the book, I had to pull. I had to pull so much trauma out of my body through deep stretching work that I got COVID 3 times and shingles.
Holy shit.
That's how much trauma had to be pulled. And but here's the crazy thing. Like, so I started to, because I ran the 30 half marathons with a hernia. So my left hip was all fucked up. And then I got proper hernia surgery, and I said, I'm going to take my time to get it back into shape, right? So when I started to stretch it back properly and really started to align myself correctly, I was like, oh, like, this is off. So I was like, damn, I'm not going to stop the stretching. So that's why I get up so early. I'm like, my body will tell me when it's stretched.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, by stretching correctly, my digestive cleared up. Because when I started to really, and that's where this was the greatest lesson I never understood, right? So years ago, I dated this girl that was a Bikram yoga instructor. And I was running, lifting weights, doing jiu-jitsu, whatever. I was sober, and I was in this Bikram yoga class. It was middle of August. It was fucking hot, and I was steaming, and we're standing in a standing bow position. And I'm standing there, and I'm freaking the fuck out. And I'm like, wait, I'm a guy that runs up fucking like hills, runs whatever it was, right? And I'm like, how is my heart racing? Yes. And I'm standing in a bow, right? So I was sitting there puzzled. And after the thing, I said to her, I can't figure this out. She's like, what? I was like, I'm just standing in a standing bow position and my heart's racing. She's like, oh, whatever. She didn't really get it. So the next time I went, I put a heart rate monitor on, right? Because I couldn't figure it out back then. I just didn't understand it. And I was standing in this standing bow position. My heart was at like 140, 150. And I'm thinking, how? I'm not running on the spot. I'm not jump roping, right? The next day I went to the gym and I was jump roping, and I'm like, oh, I'm jump roping and I'm at 140, 150. How the fuck can I be? I didn't understand what was happening in my body, the trauma, what was pulling. Right. Yep. So I never understood the power of stretching back then, right? Because it freaked me out too much. So then as I started to integrate the deep stretching now as I've got older, I know now that's what always was my over the hump when I was at acting school. I couldn't get in the movement stuff like that because no one taught me. No one said, no, that's when you go in. You got to lean into that. That's all the trauma. That's all the shit that's bound in your cells that you've got to pull. You have to pull that stuff out of your body. Yep. That's all the sexual frustration. That's all the abuse you've suffered. That's still in your body. You have to pull through that stuff, right? And remove all that anger and all that toxins and all that fear. Yes. I didn't know that. Right?
This is so important. We're telling everybody this. Okay, there's a fucking poltergeist like raising hands and giving like little like the I don't know who's doing this on your computer. It's really cute. Can you see your hand raised and everything?
Oh, right. Yeah, I didn't even know why. That's so funny. I don't know. We got a spirit sitting in here. How great is that, right?
Awesome. No, this is so good, Mike, because I would do my workout as I was going through this trauma healing, and I would simply do squats, and I would really get into my groin. But what I realized, I didn't know I was never in my groin. I never knew that I couldn't feel my vagina, my labia, my groin muscles of my bum, and they were. I mean, I'm in pretty good shape, but my bum muscles were always like jugga jugga.
Your glutes.
The real right under the bum there. Like when we first started all this, I couldn't make the body mind connection. They were not there. I was not in my body. But as I started integrating the trauma in my genitals and in my hips, life came back into my muscles. And as I would
and it changed. Can I freak you out for a second?
Sure.
Okay, so do you believe in spirits, right?
Oh yeah, I clear them.
Okay. So there's so many generational trauma, so much in my trauma.
Yeah.
So years ago, so I'm going to show you a picture. Okay, I'm going to freak you out. So on the right side of the picture, I'm going to explain this. My older cousin, my brother, me, and my little cousin. I don't know if you can see it. Okay. Right? Older cousin's up there, and I'm down here. Now, my older cousin is in a psych ward. My younger cousin has mental health issues. I broke the cycle.
Yeah.
Now, this is a picture that was taken. I went to this incredible medium, and she said, there's a female energy that either protects you or is toxic. She's in a picture somewhere. My cousin sent me this picture. I never paid attention to it. Can you see that face, that person?
Yeah.
Now, if I pull back, you don't realize she's not supposed to be in the picture. That's the picture. Out of nowhere, there's a spirit. I'll show you. I showed her. She goes, no, that's the spirit. There's a spirit in the side of the picture.
Yeah, I can see right there. Yep.
Right there, right?
Yeah, I got shivers. Yeah.
Right. That spirit has been sitting around. I didn't know it existed, but I've always felt this presence when I go into things. And when I started stretching, like deep stretching, I'm like, what is that spirit? And it's that female energy that I would always run from. Because it's all masculine dominated my life. It's all abuse. It's all aggressive. It's all push through. And it's not. It's not. It's like, no, you've got to slow the fuck down. You've got to stretch all this anger, all these resentments, all these toxins. Yeah. And it's all push. And it's not. And once I started to really get deeper into that energy, I realized I'm like, spiritually, I've been told or guided, like, I need to go like into that feminine side, slow down.
Yeah. Feel.
Be intimate.
Invite.
I was never in my body.
Wow.
I was never in my body. And now I'm always in my body. I don't run from anything. Like everything's a signal. Yes. My body tells me.
Yes.
Like, no, and now it's like I fast. Why do I fast? Because I know it's good to fast. I let my body tell me naturally. When I travel, I make sure I'm very, very careful. My rituals and routines are the same. Same stretching. Wherever I am, I stretch. When we traveled recently, I get up. We were in Vegas. I get up and I stretch in the bathroom because I got to wait early with my son and my wife. I meditate in the bathroom. I get my rituals done, but I make sure everything is aligned before I deal with anyone.
Yes. Okay. Self-fish, old way. Self first, new way. Right? Take care of self first as an honoring and alignment with source. And then from fullness and presence, away we go for the day. Amazing. Yeah.
Same rituals and routines. I tell people, I don't give a fuck where you're at in life, okay? If you wake up every day, right? Wash your face first, clear it out. Sit down, pen to paper, It's 5 in the morning, it's 6 in the morning, whatever it is. Get up early. I feel like crap. Why? My lower back is sore. Okay, I need to stretch it. I'm anxious. Why are you anxious? I'm worried about blah, 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 blah. Get it done. Get the chaos here, clear the page. Then drink about 20 ounces of water, right? Not freezing cold, room temperature, hydrate the body. Then deep stretch, 10, 15 minutes. Really stretch. Pull all the crap out of your body. After you stretch, do some breath work, some mindfulness. I do my series of breath work, whatever I do, little Wim Hof, deep diaphragmatic breathing. I do alternative nasal breathing. I do breath of fire, right? That's what I do. 10, 15 minutes of mindfulness. From there, I exercise. Always exercise after wherever I am in the world, I exercise. I'll find I find a place. If I have to take workout bands with me, I'm exercising. Yeah. After that, right, I do a little reading. I want to read, right? After I read, then it's what am I doing today? And then what I do is I have a plan, but I'm flexible.
Yeah.
I'm always flexible because the universe is going to guide me.
Totally.
Okay? I just stay in the moment and I allow myself to be guided. So then when someone says to me, I'm like, I don't get triggered, right? I don't, if someone cuts me off on the freeway, they're in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry because I'm always early. I'm always prepared. I'm always planned. Then when information comes in, because a lot of information comes in, I sit with it. I don't rush. And I figure out, is it aligned with my purpose?
Yeah. Well, stay right there. How do you do that? Is that through the senses because you're so embodied?
Information?
Yeah. When the information comes in and you make your decisions on what to do.
I just sit and I go, how do I feel about this?
That's what
is it right for my purpose intuitively, or is it ego?
But this is
I don't live in comparison. So I don't look at your life and rush anymore. I'll give you a perfect example, right? I get an offer to do something, and it was a traveling gig. And I sat with it and I go, does it feel right for me? I'm like, no. I go, more will be revealed. I just let it go. Yeah. And I bet you should do it. You should do it. Stop. It's not right for me.
Yep.
That's all I say.
This is so important that I want us to slow down on this one, Mike, because when all this comes at us and we need to make a decision, the old way is to go up into the head and where would it be good? Where would it be bad? Fear, But you're telling us that you drop in and you feel, you sense.
Oh God.
And if you're not in your body, you can't do that.
I'll give you a perfect example. Okay. When I started writing the book, I wrote the first draft. I could have self-published it. I wanted to get a publisher. I got a top agent. Okay. He said, I can sell the book in 4 months. I said, all right. I sat down in a meditation. I got offered a job. I didn't want to do the job. And I was like, I don't want to do it. But then I was like, well, what's the price I want in my head, right? I'm worth this much money. I sat down in the meditation. I woke up. They offered me the price. I was like, fuck, got to do it. So I went out to Houston. It was a big job. It was detoxing someone that had been on a substance for like 10 years. No one could do it. I knew I could do it.
Wow.
I signed up for it. Yeah. I did it. It was a 10-day job.
Wow.
I then was about to leave. I'm about to bail. All of a sudden, the dad calls me, goes, what's the center like we're going to? And I said, I'll go check it out. I walk into the center. I go, it's wrong. Shit. I go back to the dad. I said, the center's no good. He's like, why? And I said, it's just not right for your son. I'm supposed to be away for 10 days. My wife she thinks I'm coming back home in 10 days. The dad goes, I want you to go to DC with my son. Can you go for 3 to 4 months to help him? It's like, fuck. I was like, I got to do it intuitively. Just do it. My gut says do it.
Yeah. I
take the job. I fly back and forth. My wife's a little angry at me. It was September 2022. It's been 23. September 2021. End of the year comes. I call my agent. My agent goes to me, I couldn't get your book deal. I was like, what? I sit with myself. I go, here's wrong. I said, you should be able to get me a book deal. He says to me, you're too pushy. And I'm like, no, you're not good enough. I sit down in a meditation and I'm like, I've got 2 books written now back to back. I got a great book proposal, 70 pages. I need answers. I just sit. I need answers. I come out of the meditation. My intuition says, I heard this guy's name once. His name's Bill Gladstone. I call my editor and he's like, no, don't use that guy. He's no good. I'm like, oh, all right. My intuition says he's good. I look him up.
Yeah.
My intuition says, send him an email. Yeah. He represents Eckhart Tolle, the biggest. He says, this is what he said. I don't represent anyone. I'm never going to give you a book deal, on his website. Fuck that. My name's Mike Diamond. I said, I'm going to cut to the chase. Attached to the 70-page proposal and 2 books. You're going to love my books. I know you're not representing anyone, but if you don't check this, you're missing out. Send. He reads the proposal. He emails me back. Mike, I'm going to review your books. I really love the proposal. Calls me 3 days later. Mike, I want to represent you. He doesn't represent anyone.
Yes.
Right? Now, check this out. He goes to me, who do you want as a publisher? I gave him a bunch of publishers and I said, but I really want Ben Bella books. I feel them. I like what they do. I researched them. He sends my book out. 2 days later, Ben Bella gets back. He's like, how much control do you want? I said, a lot of control, but I want to work with the publisher that believes in me.
Yeah.
One of the guys has an imprint called Matt Holt. I did my research. He worked for Wiley. He's amazing. He goes, I want to meet with Mike over Zoom. Oh my God. My son is supposed to go with my in-laws that day. Doesn't want to go. I said, fuck it. He's going to do the meeting with me. The Zoom pops up. My publisher, who's never met me, says hi. My son's on my lap. I said hi. Bill's not even on the call yet. We start rapping. Bill pops up. He's like, what's going on? He looks at him on the Zoom. He goes, I'm giving him a book deal. Sign up the contracts. Now let's rewind it back. If intuitively,
yes,
I followed my head, I would have believed the agent instead of going, no, you're fucking wrong.
Thank you.
No, there's no linear path. Now, let's get even deeper about this.
Yep.
How I got my green card.
Yeah.
I had a horrible mentor that raped a girl that I went to acting school with. He got us both drunk and fucked up and took advantage of her. I was so intoxicated, I couldn't do anything. She couldn't do anything. The next day at acting school, I pulled her aside. I said, what do you want me to do? She goes, don't pretend it never happened. I went to another friend of mine at acting school. I said, what do I do? She said, Mike, go to the dean, have him thrown out. I said, no problem. I went to the dean. I said, this is what happened. We shouldn't have been there. We shouldn't have been fraternizing with the teacher, but he shouldn't have got us fucked up and taken advantage of her. He's like, she's not going to say anything. What do you want to do? And I said, if I leave, will you kick him out? He goes, yeah. And he goes, but you're going to leave acting school? I said, I'm going to leave for her. But you say you're throwing me out, so that gives you the power to throw him out, right? And leave her safe. He goes, no problem. I left.
Oh my God.
I went and took a job in a clothing store. The guy that hired me, check this out, on the fucking spot, an old Greek guy who's no longer with us, bless him. He turns around. This is what he does. I go, I need a job. He's like, aren't you going to America? Oh, well, anyway, I go, I left acting school. I need a job. He's like, so you're going to work for me and then quit? I said, I need a fucking job. He said, I'll give you the job. He was part Greek. I was working in the clothes store, making a ton of money, right? The linear path is stay in Australia, offers me an area manager position. I'm a young kid. I'm making 6 figures. I'm like, no, I'm saving money to move to America. There's a bigger purpose here. A lady comes in, I sell her clothes, and she goes to me, what are you doing here? I said, I'm saving to move to America. She goes to me, you should enter the green card lottery. I thought she was crazy. The next day, I am dressing the windows with my man, my shop partner. We're a little stoned, and I see her walking down the mall with the bags, and I was like, damn, she's going to return the clothes. It was a menswear boutique, right? So I sold her clothes for her husband.
Yeah.
I go, I'm hiding in the back. She knocks on the window. We're not open yet. She goes, hey, is Mike down? He goes, he's in the stockroom. Is everything okay? She goes, it's more than okay. I bought him a green card lottery ticket. I come out and I said to her, I'm not going to lie to you. I was hiding in the back. I thought you're going to return the fucking clothes. She gives me a hug and she goes, I hope you fucking win. 6 months later, I won a green card. And what I tell people is this: if I would have taken the linear path and thought it through, I went to the same acting school as Hugh Jackman, right? I made a bad choice. I shouldn't have gone with the teacher, but I had a responsibility to defend her. And the universe said, get out of there, protect her. I will bless you if you've got faith. I followed my gut and I got a fucking green card in a lottery. If I didn't do the right thing by her, I would have always regretted it for not standing up to her and showing her she never should have been treated like that. And I never would have been in America.
I can barely stop crying right now, Mike.
But it's true. Do you know what I mean?
No,
I said to someone the other day, doing the right thing isn't easy, but doing the easy thing is never right. Do what's fucking right. You know what I said to someone the other day? I said, you know the only job that's recession-proof and I'll always be employed? And he said, what? And he was going on about all the skills I had. I said, no, it's simple. Being a good fucking human.
Yeah.
That's it.
Doing the right
Sign
thing.
up to be a good person.
Yeah. Okay, just hang tight for a second because I'm just taking it all in. Viewers and listeners, you're hearing the words in your ears. I'm going to ask you to drop in and feel the profundity of what this man is sharing, of who he chooses to be in the face of fear or adversity. Like, he drops in and he does the right thing. And that is a vibration, and the universe hears. And he is a walking testament to following his heart, his gut. And he does what's hard every day. And he has stopped the cycle from the ancestors. He is the embodiment of that transformation. He's got a little guy on the planet who is now thriving in a way that so many of us never have. And I want to thank you so much, Mike, for who you are. And what an honor it is to listen to you speak with you, but literally feel in my body the beauty, the bravery that you are. Yeah. Wow.
You know, it's like it's you know, there's a 20-year cycle going on, and I'll tell you what it is. Not people don't understand it. So Pluto's in Capricorn, and the last time Pluto was in Capricorn was 249 years ago, the French Revolution, the American Revolution, and before that was the French Revolution.
Whoa,
right now, there's a chance that we can change the next 20 years of who we are.
Totally.
If we slow down and stay aligned. Like, people got upset when they were told to go inside when the pandemic hit. The pandemic was a global pandemic that affected us personally. It wasn't personal pandemic. We were told to go inside ourselves.
Totally.
It was a global reset.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And I try to tell people this. This is what people don't understand. And this is why I'm comfortable if I have to leave tomorrow, right? My son and wife are set up. There's 2,650 billionaires on the planet with a net worth of $117 trillion, okay? If you line all those guys up and line me up and we face our creator, because something created it, we came from somewhere and we're going somewhere. The one thing we have in common is this. We don't take a moving van with us. We take nothing with us when we die, okay? So if there's that much money accumulated on this planet, why is there a person starving? Why is there a person suffering? Because people are too busy trying to fly to the fucking moon instead of being good people and helping people. There's enough money in the world for everyone to eat. And I have an abundance mindset. And I have so much faith in the process and so much faith that if I do the right thing, that I am always fine, because the universe pays me back 1,000 times more than I think I can manifest. Right? So I don't tell people this very simple thing. Everyone talks about manifest this, manifest this. We've all manifested our reality up until this point of time, but how we choose to think, feel, and act. And we've manifested, right? But if you really want to manifest, shut up, slow down, listen to your heart, be a good person. And what you will manifest is peace, harmony, flow, contentment, right? And the universe will, what it will do is the path is already open. The trick is to remove the interference. You're guided if you slow down and listen and stay in your body. There's nowhere to go but be on this podcast with you. That's it.
Yes, yes.
That's the ultimate reality, right? That's all. I don't know what's going to happen in 10 minutes, and I'm not supposed to know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
right?
This is the magic that the entire universe is right in this exact moment of presence with you and I right now. Connected to everyone.
That's it.
Yeah. I so get it.
And I tell people, that's all. I just stay in this. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not supposed to know. And more is supposed to be revealed if I show up for life and I'm a student and I just allow myself to be taught. And I look at the patterns and the cycles and I look at what's being repeated. It's Groundhog fucking Day. Learn it. Sit in your body. The body's telling you, shut up, listen, breathe, center, get deep.
Yeah. And when you're in that breathe, get centered, deep place, for me, the universe literally animates me, fuels me, moves me. It knows who to call. It knows what to do. It knows where to go. It's that surrender to the body, the whole thing. Oh, okay.
This is the best thing that people don't understand. People say to me, and my wife laughs about it, I go all day, right? I get up, I don't stop, right? But I'm always in flow. I know what to do, and I know what calls to take. I know what calls not to take. I know who to connect with, who to not to connect with. I know who to give love to and say, go that way. I know who to say sorry, setting a boundary. I know my triggers. I know everything, right? Because I've studied and I'm learning every day like that way. So I sleep like a baby. And someone says, why? And I'm like, sleeping's the easiest thing to do. They're like, why? And I'm like, you lay on a fucking bed or you lay on the ground and you sleep, right? And they're like, why is it so easy for you to sleep? And I was like, because I move all day. I'm active. I'm in flow. So when it's time to rest and recharge, I enjoy it. I've gone through lawsuits, and I talk about it in the book. I've had people say they want to take everything off me. I'm like, fine. I've got my house right now. I'll see you in court. And what do? I expect problems, right? But what I do is I don't abandon the ship. And that's my spiritual principles. So I'm expecting rough seas, right? I do the 24-hour rule. The trick is this: you celebrate a win for 24 hours, you suffer loss for 24 hours, and that's it. Don't get too excited. Don't get too low. It's what it is.
Stunning. Yeah. That's what I do this thing all the time. Yep.
Just stay in the middle.
Yep.
And if I feel myself getting heated, I acknowledge it. Ooh, I'm a little heated up. Why? Why am I in my sympathetic nervous system? Is there any danger? No, but my body's warning me about someone, or my body's telling me something's not right. And I acknowledge it. It's not right. Do you want? No, I don't want to do that. Sorry. And I always tell people, it doesn't matter what a contract says. If it don't feel right, the contract's just, I'll see you in court later.
Yeah.
Go. We lose touch of this because we're on this.
Yeah.
Because what we're doing is getting comparison syndrome.
Yeah. All the wisdom is in there. And if we can't get in there, do the work to get in there, because the answers are inside. You're so fucking cool. I'm so glad we had this conversation. I want everyone to get a dose of positivity and get this man, follow him on all the things you can follow him on. And literally in this moment, all of you viewers and listeners, soften the front of your body, open your heart to the wisdom, the care, the bravery, and the walking humble, brave example that he is. And we can entrain and let people mentor us, even if we never talk to them or at all. And so
Here's a big thing. This is what you do. This is the trick. And I learned it. So everyone knows, and I tell everyone has a unique divine talent. Your talent is not someone else's. Mine is not someone else's, right? Now, think about this. If I had nothing to lose, right? Because you don't. Everything is to gain. Right? Everything is rented. My body's rented. The house is rented. You don't own anything. We're just here for a short period of time, tiny period of time, right? A speck, right?
Yep.
And I tell people, just if sit in it and then be the kind of person that researches, read, study people, and look for indirect mentors. And what I talk about is a direct mentor. They can call you and I. That's direct. But look at someone else's life that is successful. Look at someone that walks the talk.
Totally.
And then study them. There's a blueprint there to success. Study their rituals and study routines. Then come back to yourself and say 3 things people are always going to say. I never have enough time. Then when I take their 24 hours, I go, you're wasted time. We've got the same 24 hours, right? Not quantum time, I mean linear time. They say, I never have enough money. And I'm like, it's simple. If I bring value to you, you will pay me. How can I be of service to someone else? Purpose-driven. You're always going to get paid. People always say, I never have enough resources. Bullshit. Be resourceful. If you want to exercise, you'll walk around your fucking house and do push-ups and sit-ups, right? If you want to learn something, you can study it on YouTube or you can read a book, right? If you want to create something, I wrote my first draft off my phone in a Word document, pushing my son in a stroller so my wife could sleep. I leave you with this. Successful people do the work no matter how they feel. Unsuccessful people are looking for the right time, the right place, and the right moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. There is only this moment now.
100%. Oh, you're amazing. Maybe you're a brother from another mother, but until next time, I wish we could talk more. I literally have a client in 2 minutes. So I love you. I appreciate you. A dose of positivity, Mike Diamond. Get it now. Until next time, Mike. Humongous
love you.
Mwah, mwah. See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life. So I'm taking a little breather after shooting more podcasts today. And I'm a little low energy because I'm on day 4 of my detox. And I want my coffee. I want my glass of wine. And I'm having tea and mung bean soup. And I'm reminded of Mike Diamond's discipline to get up at 3 or 4 in the morning and work out. And I did get up, not then, but I got up and I worked out with my trainer, and stretching does feel so good to release stagnant energy. Sometimes trauma too, like emotional, come up for sure when I'm working out, and my trainer knows just to let me lose my shit. And so I'm really grateful for Mike's story. I'm really grateful, if you haven't picked up his book yet, A Dose of Positivity. And lastly, what I'm really inspired by him is the attention he spends, the quality time and the quantity of time that he spends with his boy. And while it's been years since I've spoken to my son, you know, when I did have him when he was young, since he was 1, it was 50-50 custody. But oh my God, the weeks I did not have him, I friggin' like doubled down and worked my butt off. And then the weeks I had him, I worked very little and we played a lot. I remember Mike sharing in the interview about how he wrote his book proposal while pushing the stroller. Like I did what I could to be an entrepreneur, and to, instead of just having dinner, you know, let's bring the blankets and pillows out into the driveway, and let's bring the matching game and the music. And so trying to make as many experiences or any, like, just wrote eating dinner into like an experience that he would really remember. And I remember once on Mother's Day, I was getting a facial. I was getting him a facial. That's kind of our thing. And I said, what I really, really, really want is for you to rub my feet while I'm having a facial and tell me 3 of your best memories of being my child. And it was like the best Mother's Day present in the whole world, because he remembered some of those moments where I went the extra mile to be creative, to be dorky, to create an experience. So even though I was a little envious of how much time Mike gets to spend with his little guy, I got to spend lots of time with my little guy when he was young. Those formative years, he knew that he mattered and that he was loved. So really, really get this book from Mike. He's the real deal. He's disciplined. He does the work. his intuition. He's done the work to get into his body so we can hear his intuition. And he's a stand for all of us. He's a great man. So grab his book. And thanks for being with us here on Intimate Conversations. If there's anything I can do to support your journey in becoming the one, in integrating those unresolved emotional triggers so that you can just show up as your badass, unapologetic self, the soul that you were designed to be, regardless of what anybody friggin' thinks, it would be my pleasure and honor. So connect. I love you.